Welcome to the Reality of Money Planning Guide. A little bit of background. The Reality of Money is an activity that gives students a peek into the future as they are transformed into young adults with jobs, debt, families, and other real-world responsibilities. During the simulation, students move through multiple expense stations where volunteers assist them in making the everyday financial decisions necessary to make it to their next payday. This activity provides a great opportunity for schools to work side by side with State Employees Credit Union, parents, and community volunteers to help students prepare for their financial future. The April 10, 2019 Reality of Money Simulation event was a collaborative partnership amongst Rockingham Community College, AmeriCorps Vista members, State Employees Credit Union, and the Rockingham Early College High School. This guide is a joint publication of both RCC and AmeriCorps Vista. The next several slides we are going to present an outline for what you need to do to help organize an event. So we will begin with initial things to know. The State Employees Credit Union works with the North Carolina State Organization Agency sector only. So only public schools are available to host this activity. The State Employees Credit Union does not recruit the volunteers, but the host school assumes that responsibility. The host site will provide hospitality. Hospitality is an integral component of the Reality of Money simulation. The simulation can't really be held and won't work unless you have volunteers. And as the simulations can be up to several hours long, it is strongly recommended that they be provided refreshments. The host site will maintain consistent communication with State Employees Credit Union for the duration of planning and organizing of the simulation. Everybody needs to be on the same page. The host site will also be responsible for working with Rockingham Community College to provide the necessary space for the Reality of Money simulation. So now we'll get started and lay out the responsibilities of each of the host site and the credit union. The host site will be in contact with the credit union to establish an introductory meeting so as to gather the necessary information to sponsor a Reality of Money activity. You will need to identify student participants, grade or multiple grades, the number of student participants. You will need to be able to propose date and time of simulation to make sure of CQ availability. You will also have to establish and identify a main contact person. The State Employees Credit Union will advise what dates they are available. They will determine the number of volunteers needed based upon the numbers of student participants. You will need to streamline the simulation timeline. CQ will also finalize the date. CQ will provide the host site with the Reality of Money packet, and CQ will identify their main contact person. Volunteers. Depending upon the number of student participants, 20 to 35 volunteers will be required. This number is established by CQ. Recruitment needs to commence promptly. The host will need to maintain a volunteer roster during recruitment. Host will need to create a volunteer sign-in sheet for the day of the event. The host will maintain effective communication with volunteers as the event draws closer and request that they be notified in the event of a volunteer cancellation. The host site will request volunteer contact permission in the event they wish to participate in future Reality of Money events. Coming back to hospitality, the host site will be responsible for providing some type of refreshments for their volunteers. The government agency, Vocational Rehab, may be available to provide hospitality for the Reality of Money in the instance that they have student participants in the simulation. Space. The host site will be responsible for reserving the space, the tables, and chairs for the simulation. Depending upon the numbers of the student participants, CQ will advise you about the layout, the numbers of tables and chairs required for certain stations. If possible, setting up the night before is preferable. Space consideration needs to include a separate student intro and debrief area. A volunteer sign-in area is also recommended, and you will need to include name tags for your volunteers. Contacts. This slide displays the CQ contact information, vocational rehab, and lastly, individual contacts for the host site and CQ to recruit for future Reality of Money events.